Well, hello there. Hello. How's everyone?
Good. Can you see me? Can you hear me good?
Yeah, I'm trying to. Okay, let's do that. I can see you. Can you see me?
Perfect. Thank you so much. Perfect.
Okay, awesome. So
Thank
you
you.
can see and hear me, correct?
Can you guys in the chat? Can you guys see
Okay.
and hear Professor? Can you guys hear her too? Is her audio good? Before we continue, I just want a couple of yeses in the chat before we continue because yes, perfect. Thank you, Neil. Thank you so much. Okay, so once again, Professor Jordan, thank you for taking the time to meet with me. Okay,
Awesome.
they're saying all good in the chat. Okay, perfect. Thank you guys. So welcome to Office Hours with Dr. Johnson. Just a little background about what this series is. I wanted to create a series where I'm pouring into my supporters and my students and my top engagers who enjoy my content that I'm putting out and who I want to reciprocate that same engagement with them as well. However, I wanted to also include some type of professional development or have panel discussions like this. So I've been surprising them with guest speakers every day or every other day, I bring on a new guest who I do not publicize. I just want it to be a surprise to keep them on their toes of who is Dr. Johnson going to bring on next.
Right.
So thank you for keeping it a secret and not telling everyone and not posting it anywhere. So thank you for that. That's just a basis of Office Hours with Dr. Johnson. Yeah, and for those of you on your side who's here, I'm Dr. Anthony Johnson. I have a doctorate of health science. I teach health management courses at a state college here in Florida. I'm also an entrepreneur and a variety of other things. But that's not about me today. It's going to be about Professor Jordan, who is a human resource management subject matter expert. So I have a series of questions for you, but I just want to
Yes.
jump to it and start off with your educational and professional background. A little brief intro of you, and then we're going to get into your educational and professional background. Take it away, Professor Jordan.
Okay. Okay, awesome. Well, good evening, everyone. Depending on where you are in the country, it's early evening time for me. Again, my name is Professor Jordan. I go by T.Jordan as well. I've been in the HR realm for, I don't know, maybe about 18 years now. I got my bachelor's and my master's from Roosevelt University, which is right downtown Chicago, an amazing university. But yeah, one of the reasons why I joined TikTok was because of the educational aspect of it. It was a big boom of a lot of us being able to give back and teach during our the times that we're going through. So I felt a great opportunity for me, who has always been a giver and always wanting to pour into some of our young people, for me to give back. My passion has always been HR. I have a strong passion in saving and investing as well, recruiting, all the aspects of HR. So I'm here for your questions. Ask me all those questions that you have. Really excited to be here. And if you guys can see my little intro, my little Hillman Talk poster that I got from joining TikTok, but I learned after my series of the HR that I really enjoy TikTok. So now I'm going through series of teaching. What I'm doing now is my series on saving. Right after saving, it'll be my series on recruitment. There's so many people out here who need an extra push on finding those jobs and what internal HR people look for in candidates. So that's what my focus will be probably within the next couple of weeks. So glad to have, thank you for having me, and looking forward to any questions that people may have.
Nice. Thank you for that introduction, Professor. So just to jump right into it, what brought you into HR and what do you enjoy the most within the field of human resource management?
Okay, so what brought me into HR was my background in insurance. Okay, and working in insurance straight out of my bachelor's degree. So 1996, 97, 98, I went straight into insurance. And from there, I learned about, the different areas that companies utilize to operate. Okay, and then from there, I worked with different HR departments, different companies, not actually selling the insurance, but after the sale was over, I would manage that particular relationship for my company with clients. So I have a really long history with insurance and then benefits. And then from there, when me and my husband relocated up to the north side of Chicago, it was so many pharmaceutical industries. And I'm like, oh my God, I love my insurance. I love my benefits. How could I turn this into a professional passion? So I decided to get my master's in HR because I had already had the insurance. I had already had the benefits. I already had the passion of working with people. So that's why I decided to just kind of roll it all into one, because all those areas that I kind of worked in, it's HR anyway. So I just kind of like put my stamp of approval through my master's degree.
Nice. Before I continue with my questions, I do have a question in the chat for you. Aaron is asking, what masters would you choose between an MBA, which is a master's in business administration, HR, or master's in legal studies, employment law? Keep in mind, right now, Aaron,
And I think she's a
sorry to cut you off. Aaron currently works in
okay,
healthcare. He
okay,
works.
and I
Oh, there's a lag, but I was trying to say he works in healthcare and finance, and right now he's studying organizational behavior, and he wants to continue into some type of human resource or finance health finance role overall. So based on that, what would you recommend for him?
Okay. Yeah, it definitely depends. I mean, if he's really focused on business administration, if he has to really determine what his focal point will be, if it's going to be business administration, you really need that experience. If you're going to be more so focused on HR and helping people, if you have a passion for helping people, and that's another one of the reasons why I got into HR is my passion for helping people because it's really people relationships that'll be your main focus.
Right,
Well, one of your main focuses within the HR realm is working
right,
with people and encouraging people. So yeah, I guess it just depends on him, how strong he feels like if he wants to have, that business administration, maybe eventually become an entrepreneur and you're going to need that experience. And yes, I would say that. But if you're more focused on, operating and managing people within a company, then yeah, that master's in HR would be a direction for him.
nice. Okay, just to piggyback off of that question, what advice would you give somebody who is aspiring to go into the field of HR?
Okay, so if you're aspiring to go into the HR field, what I would suggest is maybe I would volunteer because if you're not really sure if it's for you, there's platforms where you can actually volunteer and work in a department to kind of give you some idea of what it will look like, what it will feel like working in HR. Okay, and then from there you can take a couple of HR courses. You can go to a community college and take a HR course for maybe $90 or so just to kind of get an idea of the intro to HR. Because what I would suggest is after you do that, making sure you understand the many different facets of HR. Because a lot of people think, oh, HR is payroll, when it's so many more things than that. It is strategic planning. It's operation. It is compliance. It is payroll. It's also benefits. It's so many different things. So, what keeps me, and I think because it can be so robust, what keeps me is my desire and my passion to make sure that people have what they need.
Nice, I like that. Speaking of, you mentioned certifications. Is there any special certifications that you would recommend if somebody who is working within the field of human resource management and they want to somewhat diversify their resume or just diversify their overall career?
Yes. Yes. So there is a certification that some community colleges offer. Those are just for those people who are, they're probably interested in HR, but they're not really sure. Okay.
Mhm,
So they can
mhm,
take a 5 course and get like a certification for that. For those people who are really serious about HR, I would recommend them going to SHRM. SHRM has an excellent program. They have a mid-level and then a senior level certification program. Okay,
mhm.
it's the SHRM CP and then there's the SHRM SCP. Okay, that's the senior one. And what I would recommend, because they are costly, most companies will sponsor you for them. So, like if you were working in the HR realm, your company will sponsor you to take that. If you're going in on your own, I think it could be somewhere maybe $1,500 for the senior one. I think the other one maybe like $700-800. But do your homework on that. Those are probably some old figures. But yeah, I will recommend if anyone is interested, maybe land an opportunity in HR. See if your company will sponsor you for those certifications.
Mhm. Okay, nice. I like that advice. And somebody in the chat is saying yes, a company will sponsor you definitely. Okay, thank you for sharing that. Now,
Yes.
Professor Jordan, I'm big on before I do my interviews, I like to research the page and I like to review the content that my guest speaker is putting out. So I personally have some questions that
Oh,
I'm sure the chat would enjoy as well too. So your background is in human resource management, but you're also big on savings. You're also big on 401ks and specific money market accounts. I want to get into that, especially in the current climate we're in right now. So, first question: what base advice would you give somebody who is struggling with their saving goals?
okay. Okay. I would suggest looking at the big picture because your future self will thank you now for your sacrifices that you're making. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're
Mm-hmm.
starting with 5, 10, $15, you need to
Mm-hmm.
start. Okay. And even if you're
Mm-hmm.
starting in a savings account, make sure it's a high yield savings account. Okay. There's no fees for that. You will pay tax on it every year. You're gonna pay tax on the interest that grows, but at least you're starting somewhere. In our times today, yes, it is hard to save, but honestly, you can't afford not to.
Right.
You
Right.
can't afford not to. So it's worth the sacrifice to start wherever it's comfortable for you to start. And some one of the examples that I put in my book is I'm sorry, not the book. Maybe I'm prophesizing here, but one of
Mm-hmm.
the examples that I put in one of my videos was how it can grow over a year. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you would be amazed at how much you can contribute on a weekly basis or bi-weekly basis, and
Mm-hmm.
how it will grow over a year. And one of the things that I learned many years ago was to automate it. So, for
Mm-hmm.
instance, when you get paid, you have that $20 automatically go to your savings. That way, you're not even seeing it. And that really helps too. You're not even seeing that amount. It automatically goes there. And then you're working with what's in your checking account. And then don't look at it for a year, and then you'll surprise yourself. And then from there, once you get up to a few $1,000s, the interest rates are better with the money market accounts. Then you can transfer all of the money that you save to a money market account where your money will work a whole lot more for you because the interest rates are much better.
Right. Thank you for sharing that. Just sticking on the topic of
Uh-huh.
account, can you share with us what is a money market account? A money market account.
Yeah. Yeah, a money market account. Just think of a savings account, okay? But it has a checkbook, it has a debit card. Typically, when with a bank savings account, you really don't have that type of access to your savings account. Okay, so the main things about the money market is the interest rates are going to be a little bit more than your bank. You'll get a debit card, you'll get a checkbook. Okay, you have easy access to your money, and it's ran by a brokerage firm. Okay, it's still FDIC insured up to $250,000, just like your bank would be, depending on your bank. Some banks are 150, but most banks are like 250. So it's still FDIC insured. It's just your money's gonna work a little bit harder for you, and you have more access to it because most people use the money market accounts as like their emergency fund. And so when you have an emergency, you need access to your cash fast. And you want to have access to like a debit card, or you never know if you need to write a check in an emergency. Some places only will accept checks. So it's just easy access.
Right. I like that. Now, can you just briefly share with us what are the benefits of a 401k and a Roth IRA?
Okay. So so your 401k is employer sponsored.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you have to get a 401k only through an employer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Most employers, they give you a company match. Okay. And it's so unfortunate that, companies will provide you with all of this, but not a lot of explanation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. A lot of people see the company match and they don't really understand what that is. I'm going to tell you what it is. It's free money. And
Mm-hmm.
every month that you don't take advantage of it, that's free money that you're throwing away. Okay. So, what I would encourage people to do, if your company is giving you 3%, but you need to match it 3%, match it with that 3%. Okay. If you can't do 3% right now, at least do 2% or 1%. Do what's comfortable for you because every time that you don't contribute, that 3% is gone. Every single month, that 3% is gone that your company's going to give you. Okay. So take advantage of that. And most of the times within your 401k, your company has already decided what the money will be invested in. And most
Mm-hmm.
times it's really safe investments for you to grow over time. Okay. So that's your 401k.
Right.
And so your IRA. Your IRA is, pretty much for those individuals who want to save outside of their employment. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so anyone can open up an IRA.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's just that the contributions are different. So on a 401k, I think the max for 2025 is 24,500. That's for your 401k. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
For your Roth IRA, the max is $7,000. Unless you are age 50 or above, they allow you to contribute an additional $1,000 contribution. Okay. So with that, you're responsible for investing it, which is much different than your employer who's managing the 401k. It's already allocated for investments. They may have about 15, 20 for you to choose from, but on your Roth IRA, it's kind of up to you. Okay. It's up to you to determine what it is that you want to invest in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But when most of the time and all the time, when you are investing with a Roth IRA, you're doing that through a brokerage firm. Okay. Those brokerage firms, they have fiduciaries. And I kind of shared that in one of my videos that working with a fiduciary is free as opposed to working with a financial advisor. Financial advisors, you have to pay them. And based on how you pay them, you could be paying them a lot and you really don't know. And like I shared, like if their fee is 1%, that 1% is good at $1,000. Okay, I'm just going to give you 100. Okay, but as your account grows, that $500,000 and they're still getting that 1% of your money, that's a lot. So I encourage people to just, find out what that fee structure is before you sign up with a financial advisor. But with your Roth IRA, you can work with a fiduciary. You can actually call once you become an account holder. You can call and speak to a fiduciary, and they will give you guidance on some funds that you can invest in, some ETFs you can invest in, some stocks you can invest in. Some of the things they're going to want is, your age, um, you know, your retirement age, your income. They're going to want to know those things. And then it's good for you to have a goal in mind, okay? Because it's hard for them to figure out where you want to go without your goal. So if you say, hey, you know what? I want to be a millionaire by the time I reach 55. What is it going to take for me to get there? This is how much I can contribute every 2 weeks or, every month, or this is how much I plan to contribute on an annual basis. Then they can structure out a plan to assist you making that 1.52 million. But you have to have a plan in place.
Mm-hmm. Nice. I like that. Thank you for sharing that. And before we continue, for all those who are sharing the live, thank you for sharing the live. Don't forget to, when you jump in here, grab your daily heart meal. And today we are discussing everything human resource management with a subject matter expert, Professor T.Jordan. So far, she has gone over her educational background. She has gone over what brought her into HR management overall. She's shared some best practices as it relates to advice going into the field. So I just want to go back into that. How easy would you say it is to pivot into HR? Because right now the whole pivot careers is.
Um, yeah. I would say it's not that hard if you have some foundational experience. I've seen people come into HR with just customer service experience because of that foundational people helping. Customer service is nothing but helping people. Okay? So that's that foundation of knowledge and experience and of communication that you need because most times you come into HR, you're coming in as a coordinator. You're helping employees at the ground level. Email employees are going to be reaching out to you for any and all things. So coming in at that HR coordinator is kind of like an internal customer service role.
Right.
So you can segue into HR. Let's just say you had like that customer service experience for quite some time, and then you went to a community college and get like that, 5 to 6 course certification. You can segue into HR with that.
Right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it'll be at that base level, but you can move up and grow from there.
Thank you for sharing that because oftentimes with my students, they always ask about HR and just other areas, other career areas, and they always want to know how easy is it to pivot into specific career fields based on the acquired experience that they have already. So thank you for
Yeah.
sharing. Like I said, I
Yes,
like to.
that's a good way.
Mhm.
Oh, I was just going to say that's a good way to come in. I very seldom see people coming into HR with no experience coming into like benefits or recruitment or compliance. Those types of things require you to have that experience, but coming in at that base level with like that customer service and some HR courses, you can segue into HR with that.
Nice. Okay. And like I said, I like to go on my guest speakers pages and just kind of feel out, what content they are putting out. And you recently shared your why. So do you mind sharing over here? What is your overall why? What is Professor Jordan's overall why?
Yeah. So, like I shared before, and, some of my experience early on in my career, outside of insurance, I did work for an investment firm for quite some time. And,
Mhm.
that's where my passion came from, investing in savings because I used to manage millionaires' bank accounts. Well,
Mhm.
their Roth IRA accounts and how these people were living off of their dividends. And of course, I became inspired. And oftentimes, we're not exposed to that type of information. A lot of us, are living paycheck to paycheck, don't know the first thing about saving or how impactful a Roth IRA account can be or a 401k account can be with consistency. A lot of us are not familiar with compound growth and dividend growth. But those are all the things that can really change your life over time. Yeah, you don't see those things with you investing over 5, 10 years, but I would say give it 10 years. You'll start to really see a difference in your accounts. Like 10 years, 15, 20 years, you'll really start to see it. But my passion came from that exposure that I had and my own personal desire to help people. Okay. So, with that experience I had and my drive to help people, I'm always trying to encourage and teach and make people aware of how they can better themselves and how they could change their lives with information that we're just not given. And so if you take some time and go through all of my videos, I'm teaching you something that you probably do not know or you probably have not heard in every last one of my videos. So my why is to encourage my people, encourage anyone who wants to listen, how to grow, how to expound. And it will hurt my heart if people just look back and they say, oh man, I wish I would have done this 20 years ago. I wish I would have done this 25 years ago. Well, you guys have an opportunity right now to change your life. And that's through saving and through investing and having that passion of helping people has really gotten me to this point.
Nice. Thank you so much for sharing that, Professor Jordan. One more thing I want to
Yeah.
ask you. Um, as it relates to the content, you mentioned the content that you're creating, and I'm big on creating intentional content. So, what are some of the main takeaways you want those to receive from visiting your page and engaging with the content that you are creating and putting out on your platform?
Yeah, I mean, I want people to learn something new. I want people to be able to watch my videos and walk away feeling like, you know what, I can really make some changes in my financial life. Once I do my recruiting segment as well, how could I make some changes in my professional life? I want people to be able to walk away from my page feeling encouraged, feeling like they can make some change in their lives and the lives of their loved ones. Being able to take some information from a few of my videos and apply it to their life, that could be life changing for anyone. And so that's what I want. That's what I want for each of you guys on this call to be able to, take some information and apply it to your life and, hopefully make some changes for yourself as well as your family too.
Nice. Thank you so much for sharing that, Professor Jordan. So once again, thank you so much for stepping into Office Hours with Dr. Johnson. Thank you for sharing your overall experience and your acquired skills. This is what Office Hours with Dr. Johnson is about. Having healthy conversations, meaningful conversations, intentional conversations with with content that is useful not only for you but for everyone around you and for the community that you're building. So thank you for all of the work that you're doing, and thank you for the educational content that you are putting on your platform. Once again,
You,
hey everybody, hey, thank you. So once again, today's office hours was about human resource management from a subject matter expert, Professor T.Jordan. She dropped gems on us today: educational background, certifications in HR, any special certifications that you want to diversify yourself from a talent pool, how easy it is to pivot into human resource management. She also discussed what she enjoys most about HR and how she got into the field overall. Then we also touched on money market accounts because she's big on recruitment and she's big on high yield savings account. We discussed benefits of 401k or Roth IRA. Last thing, before I let you go, Professor, what would you say, or what advice would you give somebody who wants to be financial freedom? Steps to financial freedom. How would you say, what advice would you give somebody who wants to work on being financially free?
okay, someone who wants to be financially free, first you need to decide what that number is.
Okay.
Okay, is that
Mm-hmm.
financial freedom number? Is it 1 million? Is it 2 million? Okay, so I'd encourage people to take their annual salary and multiply it by 25. Okay, so that's your number. That's how much you need in your retirement account in order to retire comfortably. So
Mm-hmm.
you take your salary, you times it by 25, and that's what you're going to provide your financial advisor or your fiduciary, and they're going to map out the plan for you to get there. So just be prepared to share that number and be prepared to share, your age, your salary, your goals, where you plan to be. Even if you're, 15 years away from retirement, still understanding what that number is, because there are different funds out here that understanding what the annual return is. Some funds, their annual return is 12% or 15%. Companies like Microsoft, their return has been over 119% over the last few years. So the fiduciaries can put together a plan for you to help you achieve your goals. And so that's why that plan is very important, because when you go to them without a plan, they don't know how to strategize for you. Okay. So if you want financial freedom, I want you to start there, understanding what that number is. Okay. And then you need to go to your salary and you need to determine how much can you save per month.
Mm-hmm.
How much can you save per month without touching it? And that's why it's so important to have these accounts. If you go through some of the videos that I posted, um, the savings accounts are put in place as an emergency or just like, a basic savings account so that you don't have to touch your retirement accounts where you're saving. Okay. A lot of times people just dip into their retirement accounts when you're messing up your compound growth. You're messing up your dividends. You're messing up that trajectory of growth over the years. And that's why it's so important to, have that money allocated for your retirement and just kind of like, I wouldn't say set it and forget it, because you do need to check it every year to make sure it's still aligning with your plan. Checking in with your fiduciary or your financial advisor every single year to make sure that it is aligning with your plan. But
Mm-hmm.
still, you want to make sure that you're not touching it. That's why that money market account is so important, or that's why that high yield savings account is so important, for
Mm-hmm.
you to be able to tap into those things. It prevents you from disrupting your retirement growth. And then your future self will thank you when you're ready to retire. You have this really nice fund that you can live off of, because we just don't know about our social security. We
Yeah.
really don't know, especially a lot of our young folks. I don't even know if it's even going to be in existence when they're ready to retire. So setting yourself up now to thank yourself later, I mean, it's totally worth it. And I'm going to tell you, even starting with $10, it's worth starting. So don't be ashamed to start with a small amount. Just start it and then just grow from there.
Right, perfect. Thank you so much for sharing that, Professor Jordan. So, can we, are you open to having everyone, if they have any further questions, can they come over to your page and reach out to you for any questions or any resources?
Of course, of course. Feel free to reach out. Any questions you have. I would suggest, though, if you have questions, post them on the actual video,
Mhm,
like a comment. That way we
mhm,
can help a lot of people at one time.
mhm. Perfect. Well, once again, Professor Jordan, thank you so much for taking the time this evening to meet with me, to meet with us. Let me go ahead
Yes.
and disconnect you so you can collect your points. But thank you
Okay.
so much. We'll be in touch soon. Okay.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for having me. And everyone, have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor. Bye bye.
So once again, everyone, thank you for joining Office Hours with Dr. Johnson this evening. Tonight, it was important for us to discuss human resource management. And I like this speaker because she tied in the importance of savings account. She tied in the importance of money market accounts and the benefits of 401ks. In our current climate, those are some topics that we need to be privy to. So I wanted to make sure that I had this conversation today with Professor Jordan. Once again, you guys can stick around and stay tuned for an upcoming office hours with Dr. Johnson. Any tip, tomorrow I'm reeling it back in to healthcare. So tomorrow's speaker will be somebody in healthcare. I've had about 2 people reach out to me and say, who am I bringing up next? The only thing I'm going to say is tomorrow I'm reeling it in back to healthcare. That's all I'm going to say. So before I go, please know you guys can follow me on all platforms. I've made it easy to find me. AJ Onyx, AJ_Onyx. I am on Instagram, YouTube, and here on TikTok. So once again, thank you for joining Office Hours with Dr. Johnson. Have a good evening.